A great earthquake is going to happen in Kenya very, very soon. In this great earthquake, half of the city will fall down and 7,000 people will die in this earthquake because it is part of the judgment of the Lord Almighty. Kenya is going to mourn. Kenya is going to mourn. The great earthquake is happening very, very soon. Most of the story buildings are going to fall down. It will be just heaps of ruins and mounds of stubble. If you have been following my videos, you remember that there was a vision that I was given in 2021, and in this vision, huge rocks were falling from the sky, and on the ground, great buildings, story buildings, was being swayed, wanting to fall. And in this vision, I could see parents, children running in all directions, trying to look for safety. Even abandoned children on their own, trying to flee for safety. Because it is the cup of God's wrath. It is the terror. Because many times I have called and I have said that people are required to come for the desolation, Nalondo to Mabanga. But my cry has become in vain. So the threats are going to start. There is still war coming that will finalize the leadership of Ruto. The Gen Z protests are part of the first army that the Lord has stirred up in his might and spirit. There is still a second army coming, and there is a third army coming. Things are happening in threefold. That is why you see many prophecies of related message are coming in threefold. Now, if you have been following many prophecies, you find that there is the prophecy of severe judgment that Prophet Owor prophesied. Severest judgment coming to Kenya. He prophesied last year, 2023, mid-month. This was the first one. The second one, again the same message, severest judgment coming to Kenya. It was this year, 2024, the beginning of the year. And you find this, the last that he has prophesied again, severest judgment coming to Kenya. This one is latest. This month, I think it was July 2024. The same message, severest judgment coming to Kenya. Apart from this, you find this prophecy of Kenya shall mourn by the voice of thunders, and then we have Abdul somebody, because there is famine that has never been witnessed since the beginning of the earth that is going to happen in Kenya. Parents will eat their children because there is no food. There is still war, slaughter that is coming. Many people will die. It will be pools of blood. And this slaughter will mark the end of William Samoei Ruto's leadership. Because his leadership, it is about to come to an end. Because he took the throne of God. Kenya, the woman in labor, Revelation 12. The male child that was born to rule all nations with a rod of iron was Raila Amolo Odinga. But because of malpractice between him and the IBC Chebukati, they took away the seat, the throne of God, because Kenyans are the people of the covenant. And the true Israel nations, the descendants of Jacob, are blacks, Africans. But in Kenya, there is the vine of the Lord, the Luya tribe, the Judah people, And remember, Jesus was of the tribe of Judah. The blood of Jesus only means the lineage of Jesus. And here I am, the woman president of Kenya, the bride at resurrection, the lineage of Jesus. So a great earthquake is coming. The supply of food also is going to be cut. Now, you have witnessed before how the Rongai residents have been terrorized by wild animals, especially lions. More is still coming, because with the judgment of the Lord Almighty, the wrath of God, wild beasts are going to devour the land. And because of the famine that is coming, the great famine, they are going to feed on human beings. The ground will be split and people will be separated. So terror lies ahead. A great earthquake is about to happen in Kenya. I repeat, a great earthquake is about to happen in Kenya. Half of the city will fall down and 7,000 people will die. Now, there is still a related prophecy by Ian Lovu about an earthquake in Kenya. So it is coming. It is coming. And apart from these visions that I was given, still in the beginning of 2023, I have a sister, my last born sister, Brenda Juma. She stays in Nairobi. So last year, 2023, in the beginning, I had a dream that something had happened in Nairobi, and what she was required is to just go back and pick her things and vacate forever from Nairobi, because there will be totally no life in Nairobi. So, with the earthquake that is happening and the plagues that are still lying ahead, there is war coming, a sudden terror, bloodshed, slaughter, the looming bloodshed prophecy, because Ruto's leadership is coming to an end. Now, the related prophecy about Ruto's end of leadership have been prophesied by Mark Onyango of Revelation Ministries, and still you have the State House deserted prophecy by Abdul somebody, and we also have the Voice of Thunder's prophecy, a vacant seat. So Ruto's leadership, it is countdown, it is coming to an end. And when this happens, it will be the fulfillment of the power of the holy people being broken down. And this is found in Daniel. Found in Daniel chapter 12. I'll read from verse 7, which talks about the end times. Verse 7 said, "The man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, lifted his right hand and his left hand towards heaven, and I heard him swear by him who lives forever, saying, it will be for a time, times and half a time, when the power of the holy people has been finally broken. All these things will be completed." Now, I have already informed you that Kenya are the people of the covenant. They are the people of the covenant. In Kenya is the ancient land of Canaan, Nalondo to Mabanga, and it is the same place of desolation, that during the desolation it will be built as the heavenly kingdom of God. With me, the bride at resurrection, the risen Jesus, a resurrection of a messianic call. With me is the judgment book and the book of life. And in Nalondo to Mabanga, Faith Christian Church Nalondo, under Pastor David Ikea and Ruth Wekesa, It is the same place where the mountain of the Lord will be built. Isaiah chapter 2, Micah chapter 4. So Kenyans are the people of the covenant. That's why you hear many prophecies rotate about Kenya. And it has been said that revival will start in Kenya. That is why when you hear the prophecy of the woman president in Kenya by Margaret Karani, there are 3 different prophecies, but related message of a woman president in Kenya. And I am here, the bride at resurrection. Now, in Margaret Karani's prophecy, she says, revival has not yet started. It will start only during the time of the woman president. Here I am, the woman president, the bride at resurrection. So in Kenya, it is the land of Canaan, the promised land, the land of inheritance. So, the mountains of Israel are in Kenya, but due to the false doctrines, we were meant to believe that the Israel nation is another nation that are in fighting right now. The Gog and Magog war has not happened. It will happen during the desolation, when the Gog, Magog, Tubal, Greece, the Europeans will gather against us, because the Satan of the world was the red dragon, the late Queen Elizabeth. So Kenya, Revelation 12, the woman in labor. The labor that we had was the August 8, 2022 elections. And you find that the red dragon died in September. And with her death, it marked the end times. Not the end of the world as we were meant to believe by the false doctrines, but the end of dark ruling in preparation for the new heavens and the new earth. So now that Ruto took to power and he messed with the throne of God, the nation is under judgment. So all the people that have been coming like Benny Hinn, healing the nation, that was a mock to God, because we were already in judgment. And nothing has been rectified, because the throne of God has not been returned to the rightful owner, Raila Amolo Odinga, until it is returned, because he is going to rule in the image and likeness of God Almighty. And we shall be one nation under one king. And that is how Kenya will become the tree of life, Revelation 22, having the heavenly kingdom on earth, having the mountain of the Lord. And in this land of promise, it is the same place that the palace of the king Raila Amolo Odinga will be built. It will be opposite the mountain of the Lord. So until this happens, because Ruto is not finishing the 5 terms, his days are numbered. So we are heading to the power of the holy people being broken. And how will it be broken? By the army that the Lord is bringing to end the leadership of Ruto. He will be taken to a far away land, and he will never see this land again. And until his day of death, his sin will not be atoned for. So slaughter is coming, and people have to flee for safety. Only Nalondo to Mabanga, Bungoma, and Kakamega will have life. And this will be fulfilling the prophecy that Prophet Owor said that the resurrection will start in Bungoma, and only Bungoma and Kakamega will have water. And in prophetic terms, it means only Bungoma and Kakamega will have life. Now, when you hear about the severest judgment prophecy by Prophet Owor, you hear him say 2 elephants were fighting and people were being locked out. Many people will stay wicked. They will not humble and do what has been decreed. So they will be locked out from the desolation. The land is going to be split by the great earthquake. Only those who will gather are the ones who will be safe and have life. So we are heading to the power of the holy people being broken. And the word says, when the power of the holy people has been finally broken, all these things will be completed. So everything that was decreed about the end times is going to complete when the power of the holy people is broken. This is a repeat of the 77s. I've explained it before in the previous videos. 77s are decreed for your people and your holy city to finish transgression, to put an end to sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. I already explained 77s. It is 77 years, the years of the King of the Lord Almighty. In 2022, which is the same year that Kenya, the woman in labor, Revelation 12, was fulfilled. This same year, Raila Amolo Odinga, the King of the Lord, was 77 years. So 77 began in 2022. Now, to seal up vision and prophecy, here I am, the woman president, sealing up the prophecies, upholding the prophecies of the Lord, both biblical prophecies and the other prophecies that God has given to other servants of God, the elect servants of God, not all, because some are having their own illusions. They are declaring that there is peace, and yet there is no peace, because we are in judgment. And to anoint the most holy place, which is the most holy place, where the mountain of the Lord will be built, because this mountain of the Lord will be the throne of God Almighty. It is the same place where people will gather and sing endless praise and worship songs to the Lord. I know and understand this. From the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed one, the ruler, comes, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. Now, here I am, the bride, the woman president, giving out the word. And the word, it is the true word that was there from the beginning. I am preaching it, and I've done it since day one, the first video. If you have been following it up, you understand the true word, not the false doctrines that we found and had to believe. So from the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, and I have told you, Nalondo to Mabanga, it is the ancient land of Canaan, the land of promise. And this is where people are to come for desolation. And during the desolation period, it will be rebuilt to the city of the Lord Almighty, to restore and rebuild until the anointed one. Who is this anointed one? The ruler to come, none other than Raila Amolo Odinga. That is why you find there is the prophecy of Yamkela Joseph. It reads, Kenya the Eye. He says that the Lord is about to cause a whirlwind of change. And he said that the current President William Ruto is only a preparer of a David to come. He is only a preparer of a David. Who is this David? The King, Raila Amolo Odinga. There will be 7 sevens. So 7 sevens means Saba Saba. Now, from 2022 to 2023, we had the Saba Saba. It has passed. From 2023 to 2024, we had the second Saba Saba, which has just happened recently. Now, and 62 sevens. So 60. From 1963 to to 2023. The celebration of Madaraka Day, 1st of June. It is 60 years. Now the extra 2 are the extra 2 months, July and August. And then we have the 7th in quotes. 7 meaning completeness of everything. The completion of everything. So the 62 7th is already past. The 60. 1963 to 2023, it is 60 years. Now it has already passed. Why am I back on this? I want to explain about the times and half a time. Because in Daniel chapter 12, the end times, which says, it will be for a time, times and half a time. This is what I want to explain. Now, I have already told you that 7 sevens is Sabasaba. Now, remember the Sabasaba that many people were killed. It happened in 1990. So, from 1990, during the Sabasaba that happened, to 2000, there is a time, 10 years. So from 2000 Sabasaba to from 2000 Sabasaba to 2020, those are 20 years. So 20 years are 10 years times 2. So those are the times. They have happened times 2. I repeat, 1990 Sabasaba to 2000 Sabasaba. Those are 10 good years, a time. And then 2000 Sabasaba to 2020 Sabasaba. Those are 20 years. The times, 10 years double the times. So we are in 2020 and a time is 10 years. Now, we are in 2020 and the half of 10 is 5. Now we are in 2024 heading to 2025. The latest Sabasaba has happened. So it was written it will be for a time, times and half a time. Meaning that 1990 to 2020 the time, 1990 to 2000 the time, 2000 to 2020 the times. Now the half a time is supposed to end in 2025. So we are at the finality, the peak, because we are in 2024 heading to 2025. And it continues and says, when the power of the holy people has been finally broken. So Ruto's leadership is coming to an end, because the times and half a time is at the peak of it. That's why you have the prophecy of deserted state house by Abdul somebody. And then you have the vacant seat prophecy by the voice of thunders. Again, you have the revelation ministry, Pastor Mark Onyango, where he prophesies and says the countdown to Ruto's end. But because of the elect, the days are going to be shortened. So Ruto leadership is coming to an end. Slaughter is coming, and a great earthquake is coming. Now, the latest vision, which happened a month ago, and this was given to my 10-year-old firstborn daughter, Lensia Diambo. She shared with me the dream. She said that In the dream, giants had attacked us, and they were huge, enormous giants. So when these giants had attacked us, her together with her youngest brother Nestor, they ran to Nairobi for safety and abandoned me. They left me alone here. So while they were in Nairobi in great fear, after some calm had happened, they saw everything that happened about this attack. They saw this on the news. It was everywhere in the news. So as they watched, they even saw that there was an army that tried to help people, to save people who had been injured. So when they saw that at least there was life, people moving, and people being saved, this is the time that they decided to come back. And when they came back, they also found that I was safe. So the meaning of this dream, there is a supernatural event that is about to happen. A supernatural disaster that is about to happen. And who owns the supernatural? It's only God, not man. And this supernatural, the lives of people will be destroyed. The lives and livelihood of people will come into a ruin. And many people will run to distant places to seek refuge, to seek safety from what is made of man. But they will not find only the place of safety that will save people. It is word of God. And which is word of God? The place of desolation, because it is the only place that will have life. I have told you still, wild animals are going to devour the land. They will eat people because of the supply of food and water that is going to be cut. Because it is the razor of God's judgment. And the judgment is inescapable. Only the righteous will be saved and sustained by the Lord. But after this judgment, there is glory. Only with the remnant, the 144,000 of the tribe of Israel. Because the true Israelites are Africans. Jesus was black. And I have explained in my video what Russian President Vladimir Putin, the revelation of the black Jesus, when he found that book, the book of truth, it marked the fulfillment of the vision of the Daniel vision, the vision of a man. It is in Daniel chapter 10. So, Kenyans, many times God has communicated through his elect prophets, but you have remained rebellious. You have given a deaf ear. Even there are some people who call themselves men of God. I wonder what voice they are listening to, claiming that they are listening to the true voice of God. They have rebelled. They have been pocketed. They see the truth, but they don't want to admit the truth. They want to swim in the good life that they're being given while they have been pocketed. But the wrath of God is going to descend on them. Everyone is going to pay for his sin. So the great earthquake is about to happen. I repeat and say, half of the city will fall down and 7,000 people are going to die. And still at the coast of Kenya, a great tsunami is going to happen. This vision I was already given. And apart from the tsunami, there are typhoons that are going to happen. Windstorms, a whirlwind that even children, in that vision I saw children being lifted in the air by this great whirlwind and typhoon. So disaster is coming. Terror lies ahead, Kenyans. Only a remnant remains. Because it is the cup of God's wrath. And every person is going to drink it. As long as you have remained rebellious, having a stone heart, you are going to drink the cup of God's wrath. And the finality is the lake of fire, a resurrection of what happened during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. And I explained resurrection. It is not what we were meant to believe that Jesus is coming back. Resurrection only meant the reoccurrence of the past events that were in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. We had Jesus as the Messiah, one sent to the whole world. Here I am, the bride, the woman president in Kenya, one sent to the whole world. So it is resurrection. And also, the resurrection means the past events and happening, the plague that happened during the time of Moses, during the time of Elijah, coming to life again. They have been considered dead. So these are the dead that are resurrecting, coming back to life. The graves being opened. During the time of Elijah, we had the great earthquake. We had a great famine. And you remember also during the time of Elijah, we had a remnant of people that had not bowed down to Baal. So again, this time we are having a remnant, the 144,000, the righteous of the Lord. During the time of Moses, during the journey heading to Canaan from slavery, remember the plague that happened, rivers being turned to blood, water being made bitter, the hail, because floods are still coming, great floods than before that has never been witnessed, they are still coming. So everything that happened before, these occurrences that have been considered dead, buried in the graves, they are resurfacing. That is why it is being called resurrection. So Jesus is not coming, but a transfigured Jesus. And here I am, the bride, the woman president. That is why the transfiguration, it was not a past vision that we were meant to believe, but a vision of resurrection. That is why it was said, it was written, seal until the time I have risen from the dead, meaning resurrection. So it is the time of transfiguration, the land being transfigured, the spirit of the people being transfigured. How will it be transfigured? Because the sins that are lying ahead, the terror, people will burst, they will tear apart, because there are sins that are unbearable. The rapture, the physical and spiritual rapture. So it is the cup of God's wrath. You find that other countries on the map, the disasters that have happened on them, the floods, the typhoons, the destruction that has happened over America and other parts of the world. But the only place that this has not happened is Kenya, because in Kenya is the finality. The lake of fire will descend like the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, because the vision I was given was flashes of lightning and fire falling from the sky above. So in Kenya, it is the finality of everything. Jeremiah chapter 25. Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 27. Then tell them, this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel says. Drink, get drunk, and vomit, and fall to rise no more, because of the sword I will send among you. But if they refuse to take the cup from your hand and drink, tell them, this is what the Lord Almighty says. You must drink it. 29. See, I am beginning to bring disaster on the city that bears my name, which is the city. Kenya's the people of the covenant, the mountains of Israel. So, I am beginning to bring disaster on the city that bears my name. And will you indeed go unpunished? You will not go unpunished, for I am calling down a sword on all who live on the earth, declares the Lord Almighty. So, war is coming. A great slaughter is coming. The fulfillment of the valley of slaughter, Jeremiah 7. That is why you have the prophecy by prophet of war coming to Africa. It is coming to Africa. It will sweep through Africa. But the destiny is Kenya. 30. Now prophesy all these words against them and say to them. Now prophesy all these words against them and say to them, the Lord will roar from on high. He will thunder from his holy dwelling and roar mightily against his land. He will shout like those who tread the grapes. Shout against all who live on the earth. 31. The tumult will resound to the ends of the earth, for the Lord will bring charges against the nations. He will bring judgment on all mankind and put the wicked to the sword, declares the Lord. So after this judgment, all wickedness will be no more. All the dark altars will be no more. It will be the new heavens and the new earth, having Raila Amolo Odinga as the king of the Lord, one nation under one king, because he will rule in the image and likeness of God. That is why you have the prophecy of Isa El Buba about a new Kenya, and it will no longer be called Kenya, but it will have a new name, the Israel nation of the Lord Almighty. 32. This is what the Lord Almighty says. Look, disaster is spreading from nation to nation. A mighty storm is rising from the ends of the earth. 33. At that time, those slain by the Lord will be everywhere, from one end of the earth to the other. They will not be mourned or gathered up or buried, but will be like dung lying on the ground. 34. Weep and wail, you shepherds. Roll in the dust, you leaders of the flock. For your time to be slaughtered has come. You will fall like the best of the rams. So, the people who call themselves that they are men of God, and yet they are false prophets, feeding on the people, enjoying the life in the name of ministry, and yet they are deceiving people, having their own gain. So their time of slaughter has come, and they will fall like the best of the rams, because the wrath of the Lord is falling upon them. The shepherds will have nowhere to flee. They will have nowhere to flee. Even the leaders preying on the people, the holy people of the Lord. The Gen Zs is an army rightfully belonging to the Lord, because he has stirred them up in his own might and spirit. Why has he stirred up the Gen Zs, the small children? Because the leaders, the old, have failed to rise up. It is just like the time of Balaam, when the donkey had to stand for the Lord. So this time the Gen Z, they are the donkeys who know nothing about the world, but they know about righteousness. They believe in righteousness, what is right, no oppression. So the Lord has stirred them in his own might and spirit to fulfill his word. Because the leaders have gone astray. So he has used the Gen Zs to communicate his message. The donkeys and those who rebel, just like the time of Korah, they will be swallowed by the earth, by the great earthquake that is coming. The shepherds will have nowhere to flee, the leaders of the flock no place to escape. Hear the cry of the shepherds, the wailing of the leaders of the flock. For the Lord is destroying their pasture. So why will they cry, the shepherds, the people who call themselves the men of God, yet they are sheep, they are wolves hiding? Why will they cry? Why will the leaders cry? Because they are feeding on the people, the innocent people. And because of these plagues, even some of these people who rebel against the word of the Lord are going to die. So the pasture that these leaders are feeding on will be no more. So these leaders and the false prophets, they rely on feeding on the people. Toa, 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 toa. And they pocket in the name of healing, in the name of deliverance. So due to these plagues, many are going to die. The number is going to be reduced. They will have nowhere to feed as usual. They have taken the innocent people as slaves, working for them. Kuitisha pesa, toa, 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 toa. And they enrich themselves. So they will have nowhere to get this money that they used to enjoy, because the Lord is destroying their pasture, meaning the people that they have taken them into slaves. So the peaceful meadows will be laid waste because of the fierce anger of the Lord. 38. Like a lion he will leave his lair, and the land will become desolate. So like a lion he will leave his lair, and the land will become desolate because of the sword of the oppressor and because of the Lord's fierce anger. So the great earthquake is coming. Wild animals are going to devour the land. A whirlwind, typhoons, more floods are coming. Great famine lies ahead because it is the cups of God's wrath, the judgment. So watch and pray and return back to the Lord, because only the righteous will be kept safe.